Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store and online. And now all mattresses are on sale, plus free home delivery during our Cyber Week sale. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From the original walk-ons, Burbank and Nicholson, welcome to the Thursday edition Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio. Matt Humans, Dwayne Colucci, both with us on this Thursday.
We miss those guys.
Yeah, well, we can't all take vacation to the Bahamas in the middle of November.
I think he went since the last we spoke to Humans, he's been in the Bahamas and in Maui.
That's a lot of air miles, man. Frequent flyer miles.
Frequent flyer
on the rise, huh?
Well, there's a lot of fast food in the airports,
He would know. He's got that locked up. We'll talk to Humans in the second hour today. Nasty weather here in the capital city. Be careful as you're making your way around. So, two big things that we want to get to today. The aftermath of signing day and what is still going on there, and then of course LSU basketball with a win last night at Boston College. We'll start with the signing day stuff. And yesterday, a lot of nervous moments about commitments that LSU had that had not signed, and the biggest ones, of course, were Richard Anderson from Carr and Lamar Brown from U High. So Lamar Brown is still not signed. LSU still feels very good, is my information, about how that will shake out. I can't give you a time or anything like that, an exact time, but they still feel good about that. Anderson was.
I'll give you a time.
Go ahead. Give me time. You got a time?
Pep rally tomorrow before they head to St. Charles.
Okay. Good. Okay. That's fantastic. Richard Anderson was a little bit more confusing because there was a ceremony at Carr yesterday, and Anderson signed his paperwork in front of everybody. Okay, he did interviews afterwards, telling the Advocate and others that he had talked with Lane Kiffin, said it was good. I was like, I'm staying home. No better place than LSU. Carr coach Bryce Brown said that he says, I'll let Coach Kiffin share the message because he's the head coach at LSU, but our thing is to make sure our student was in the best position possible. So everybody watched him sign this paper, and then the articles came out with the quotes and the pictures, and everybody assumed that Anderson had signed, which he did. He just didn't send it in. So when we saw the pictures and saw the quotes and everything, everybody kind of relaxed. And a few hours later, when his signature hadn't officially hit the LSU website, people started to ask questions. And by the time we got to last night, recruiting, it's a full-fledged panic. Why hadn't Anderson sent his paperwork in? Well, Bama's going to put this out about an hour ago, maybe a little bit more than an hour ago, says that Bryce Brown, the head coach of Carr, told him that Richard Anderson should be officially signed with LSU today. There was a hold-up on a clerical error. Funny how those clerical errors only happen with the 5 stars and not with the 3 stars. But and the paperwork should be official after that.
Probably dealing with a little bit more money.
Yeah, that's all this is,
well,
in my opinion.
Well, there's the clerical stuff. There's some the contract includes some people that are not going to be at LSU in the future.
And that report came out on Football Scoop that Austin Thomas and LSU were parting ways, which is not a surprise to us at all. LSU hasn't made that official yet, but Football Scoop's pretty good with this stuff, and that's something that we expected that would happen. So, clerical work.
No, but it's supposed to. It's not supposed to be a problem.
Yeah, right. He should be
for either of them. For
right.
the big two in this whole thing. We talked about the obvious. Kiffin had to go down there and do a little extra work. Because it was a little. The uncertainty about Frank Wilson is a little obvious at Carr. He's more deeply entrenched at Edna Carr than any other school, including his high school alma mater in St. Aug. And with Lamar Brown, he was very, very, very close. He created a strong relationship. And you got to remember that these 5 stars, these guys, top 5 recruits, and everybody's list in the country, not just at their position, but they've told a lot of things, and the families don't know who to trust. And that was one of Frank's biggest strengths, is that over time, throughout a relationship, being available at certain times when they have questions or things happen that they need some help or some guidance, some advice, Frank's there. And so that's why, this is a little bit jarring too. And I have not spoken to the Anderson family or himself, but of course I know the Carr community. And so I do know that the Brown family and the Carr community is a little staggered by the uncertainty of Frank Wilson continuing with his staff.
And that's understandable. Wilson's been here a long time in very different stints, and he was not only the recruiting coordinator but the interim head coach. So that's all.
And one of the things I got from the Carr community too is that he was really, really happy to be at LSU. That he's home and he could recruit. Just felt home. As you get. Frank's getting older now, and so he appreciates, that. Will Frank Wilson have offers? Sure, he will if they part ways. And keep in mind, I got to stay consistent, and that is everybody from the general manager to the recruiting coordinator to the defense coordinator to the secretary to the strength coach is fired. It's not just Brian Kelly. Everybody's fired, and you have to rehire. So it's not. We sometimes say retained, and that's just inaccurate.
You know who else does that? In a 2-term presidency, the entire cabinet resigns as a matter of courtesy, so the president doesn't have to fire them, and then he rehires the one he wants, and the ones that don't go. So I understand the procedure, and you explained it.
If you say so with that presidency stuff.
Man, try to be well-rounded a little bit sometimes.
I
stumbled on that information.
I will concede. You're way more well-rounded than me, Charlie.
I stumbled on that information. The other story, of course, is around Blake Baker, and will he end up at Tulane? Or now we found out after the show yesterday that Memphis was a school that he interviewed with as well. So is Baker going to take either one of those jobs? I would have suspected we would know something probably by the end of the weekend. Tulane's got a game tomorrow. I'm sure he wants to be respectful of that. It's a pretty doggone important game for Tulane, I would say. And obviously there are players that want to know about the defensive staff, and that's also perfectly acceptable. Now, one of the players yesterday afternoon, Haven Finley, the cornerback from California, who was originally going to hold off on his signing, decided to sign yesterday afternoon. Corey Raymond's position with LSU, at least as far as I have been able to ascertain, is if Blake Baker stays, is fine. And by the way, LSU has made him an offer to come back, a very generous offer over what he's got now. But it's not a head coaching job.
But it's not the same money as at least Tulane, and we don't know what Memphis is, but then it shouldn't be.
It's more money than he was making last year, but less money than a head coaching job would be. Yes.
Then his head coaching. This offer would be. Now he's been offered the Tulane job. That's kind of what I get.
That's what I
kind of understand.
It's less certain. It's less certain if he's been offered the Memphis job. Okay, he interviewed up there.
Oh, okay,
it's less certain if he's been offered.
But the
job.
Tulane pause is about budget.
Yeah, and so he's
specifically player budget.
Correct. So they're going through that. Is he going to take that job? And of course, Blake Baker, like 95% of the assistants, wants to be a head coach one day. So
he wouldn't be interviewing if he didn't want to.
Correct. And when I say a head coach, he wants to be a head coach at a Power 4 conference. Okay. So can you get there faster being a head coach at a Group of 6 or a coordinator at a Power 4? And history has told us that you can get there either way. Okay. You want to. We'll use another political example, Jimmy. I know you love those. You want to be a president, you want to be a senator, you want to be a governor, or a congressman. It's entirely up to him. Dave Aranda got the Baylor job. Willie Fritz got the Houston job. John Summerall got the Florida job. Bo Pelini got the Nebraska job. You can get there either way. That's up to him.
How would you grade Baker this year? You think they had good personnel?
Oh,
you think they had good personnel?
I think they had. Yeah,
I do.
I think they had
do.
Good, yeah.
Yards per play defense 30.
That's.
I want more on it. I know they got. I know their defensive payroll was higher than 30.
That offense didn't make a lot of first downs. I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack on the amount of time that the amount of plays that they had to be on the field.
Okay.
I thought he did a good job. Was it the best job I've ever seen? No, but I thought he did a pretty good. That defense gave them a chance to win at Oklahoma, gave them a chance to win at Ole Miss, gave them a chance to win. I think, Vanderbilt's probably a bad example.
Ole Miss kind of they had 500 yards against them.
They did, but they also got off the field 6 times. So they
the third down stops,
right.
and turnovers, down stops and turnovers.
Now the Texas A&M game was a debacle. The second half was a debacle, and they. Alabama got to him pretty good. But overall, I would say Blake Baker did a good job.
Max brought to our attention, but opening drives for LSU this year, they got outscored.
Yeah, that's your scripted plays.
So Arkansas blocked a punt. That's a 4th down play, opening drive, and they got 7 points. You scored 3 points for your opening drive. So, no, I mean, that's part of it. That Ole Miss game, we talked about that, how many snaps they were on the field.
Right, and in the second half. Now, could they have gotten another stop? Yeah. I thought Baker did a nice job this year.
I think solid, Charlie. I mean, 30.
Solid,
30
nice.
What you're looking for, I mean, we thought the defense was way better than what it was. They couldn't stop Vanderbilt. Could not stop them.
That guy might win the Heisman Trophy. He was hard to stop.
He's my vote. He's my bet. I'd vote at current odds right now. I would advise go get it. I think there's a little bit of push because of Vandy gave Josh Heupel his worst loss ever at that building at Neyland Stadium, and the committee says it's no quality win. Okay, they beat them way worse than Georgia did.
Yeah,
worse than Oklahoma
wouldn't
did.
Beat them as bad. Maybe they'd have stayed ranked.
Yeah.
So Baker's future, Corey Raymond's future. We're waiting on those. Here's the rest of the news. Dylan Purter, number 20 safety in the nation, flipped his commitment from LSU to Florida. That was expected. They were hoping to get in on Landon Duckworth, the 4-star quarterback that had pledged to South Carolina, number 10 quarterback in the nation. He announced today that he will be signing with South Carolina this afternoon. So they come up short there. They had recruited him very heavily at Ole Miss, so they had the relationship there. But flipping him here at the end, and I understand that was pretty expensive too, was a little bit too much. So I think that – hang on, there was one more that I wanted to get to, and that was the other defensive lineman that is headed maybe to Georgia Tech. So we'll see what happens with that today. Georgia Tech came up short on some defensive linemen. They came back strong. There'll be another few that they are trying to flip. They're trying to flip the wide receiver that has been committed to Auburn, Jace Matthews, who is a 5-star. There are others. Right now, LSU's class is short. We figured that. You got a transition. It's short. Most of the other classes are short, maybe not quite this short. Teams that didn't turn over coaches, they signed the normal amount. That's what happens when you turn over a coach. They still got some time to go.
You add Anderson and Brown and
if you add Anderson, they're in the top 15 as it is. If you add Anderson and Brown, it's going to skyrocket. It's going to go into the top 10, I would think.
No, how many commits?
11.
And top 10 with a coaching transition is very good.
Yeah,
that's very good in a coaching transition.
And I think you're going to
get
top
10.
If you get these,
Charlie, that's good.
No, it is.
How many other 6 in the SEC are in the top 10?
I'm counting
Florida.
I'm counting Anderson to make 11, and the kid. Deuce Gerald's is the kid's name.
Okay, so top 10 are right at it. Okay, give or take a few. That's fine. It's very good. Where's Ole Miss?
Right there with them.
Right there?
Right there. Let me give my updated team rankings. Ole Miss. No, I'm sorry. They're down at 33. They're down at 33.
That's not top 10, Charlie.
No, I was thinking about Florida.
You're more well-rounded, but your math got to improve.
Florida's 15. You want the
Florida
latest?
15, not
Alabama 4, Georgia 5.
No. Coaching changes. We're talking coaching changes. And LSU is the stronger program. Where's Florida?
15.
Not bad. Not bad. No, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Top 15 is good when you can do that. Yes. And so.
Ole Miss at 33.
Auburn
at 36.
Mm-hmm. Kentucky.
Penn State.
Kentucky down the line anywhere.
Page 2.
Penn State.
138, I think.
That's not good.
They're behind some division. They signed 2 kids. It's not
a full class, right, Charlie?
No. It's a little bit short. So, still work to do with the signing class. We're here at Walk-Ons.
And
the
you know
original.
what? The holiday season, Charlie. Look at the Christmas tree right here. Look at the snowflakes. Look at the decorations. We talked about whether you have a holiday gathering. Boy, Dustin and them had a big catering order to go out, and so man, they do a great job of the catering over here, and so they can transport it to your office if you want to do something at the office, you want to do something at the school, whatever it is, and we can transport it. But we have the patio that's available to rent out. If you want to have your Christmas gathering, we got the private room. So, different size privacy rooms with all the service and the catering menu. When Brian Rushing passed, it did something for his family in the private room that, and it was well done. Private servers, so make sure that's okay. You order from the catering menu, do the chafing dishes and things like that, and some other things that were actually served. So it's, keep us in mind over here at Walk-Ons. It's not just for game day, Charlie. It's not just for game day, Charlie.
Get over here. Watch all the games. Live at the original Walk-Ons. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. Go to SupremeRice.com. LSU basketball playing their first true road game of the season up at Chestnut Hill last night. Came away with an overtime win over Boston College, 78-69. It moves the Tigers' record to 8-0. It was a game that LSU, I thought, did a lot of things well outside of shooting the basketball. I thought they were very good on the glass, particularly the offensive glass. I thought that they defended pretty well, especially in the first half. I thought they kept the turnovers down. I thought that Michael Nwoko, who has really had a strong start to the season, was a big piece of what they had success with early. Then he picked up 2 cheap fouls in a real quick, but probably 25-second sequence on a loose ball, and then they got him on an illegal screen coming back up the floor, and he had to go out of the game, and that kind of stunted LSU's momentum a little bit. But I thought Dedan Thomas in the second half made some key plays at the drive that ended up getting LSU into the overtime, and then in the overtime, LSU did not miss any of their shots from the floor, and Boston College did not make any of their shots from the floor. I love Marquell Sutton. I think he is. I think he's their best player. Most people think Dedan Thomas is. I think Sutton is the most versatile guy that they've got. I think he is a good player. I think he's a good shooter. I think he's a good rebounder. I think he's just solid all the way around. But in the second half, LSU's ice-cold shooting allowed Boston College to get back into this thing and take a lead in there. With about 4 minutes to go, it looked like Boston College was kind of surging a little bit, and then with a minute and change to go, looked like they were going to win the game, and Thomas made a couple of plays. So, again, what I like about what I saw a pretty organized group. They didn't turn the ball over a whole lot. Looked like they were running pretty efficiently. I thought that they rebounded well. I thought they hit the offensive glass really hard. I thought they defended. I thought they kept the turnovers to a minimum. They just couldn't hit a shot to save their life. Now, I don't think that they ended up shooting 3 of 19 from three-point range, which is abysmal. And McKinnon in particular just couldn't get one to go down until late in the game, it felt like. But I don't think we'll see long term. I don't think that this is going to be a poor shooting team overall. And I base that on how well they shoot free throws. And that essentially was the difference in the game last night. They shot 85% from the line, and Boston College shot 67% from the line. And for the season, Jimmy, and this is beyond competition, they're shooting 78% as a team from the line.
Well, we still don't know because it was not a Q1 or Q2 game opponent last night. Boston College is picked to finish last in the ACC, 18th. Boston College has lost at home to Tulane and Central Connecticut State. Tulane but beat Grambling by 2 and lost to UNO badly. But, their conference RPI actually jumped up. We talked about they were down 6-3 with 7 to go in this ACC-SEC challenge. And it's important because it's a big chunk of, Power 4, Power 5 games right now. It's shaping your conference RPI. SEC, no way, is getting 16 teams in this year. I'm projecting around 7 to 10 right now. But they did jump the Big East by going 6-1 last night in the ACC-SEC Challenge, and they're close to the ACC. They're not going to catch the Big 12 or the Big 10. This is not going to be an historic close to what the SEC was last year. SEC and ACC are very close. But what this does is when you have a net, and the net, it's early, but the net is still – they're 16. And none of these wins garner, certainly what I saw, and I watched the whole 45 minutes, that tells me that's a tournament team last night. But you've got to – what you did, you avoided a really bad loss. A really bad loss. And Thomas, maybe because the big guy got some foul trouble, it's a high shot volume for a point guard. He has improved from what we saw the last couple of years at UNLV, but he bailed him out at the end. He took over and scored 2 buckets in the last minute of the regulation to get it to overtime, and then the better team won. I mean, the guy that came off the bench, the kid from Japan who looks like more like a rec league guy than he does a Power 5 player. I mean, he kind of, just kind of lit LSU up for a little stretch last night. So let's not get and say like this is some kind of big win. It's still, even on the road, it's not a Q3. That's not opinion. That's data. And so, but you avoided a bad loss, and the conference avoided a really bad showing in this thing that could have buried their conference RPI and many of its members. Because you're not going to have a lot of the opportunities for Q1 wins that you had last year when you start conference play?
I'm certainly not making any plans for Selection Sunday off of this win. I think you go on the road the first time. That's always a little bit more challenging. I thought they answered that challenge early, and then they answered that challenge late. In between, they couldn't put the ball in the bucket for long stretches of time, and that ended up, hurting them eventually. They're better. Okay.
There's no doubt they're better.
How much better are they going?
There's no doubt.
Texas Tech is next week.
They're not as good as their NET ranking, but they're not as good as they're not as bad as they've been. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But we just don't know.
And that
Indiana is a blue blood. They still haven't played a Q1 or Q2 opponent.
Right. The game against Texas Tech on Sunday. That's a significant step up in class from anybody they've played. So let's see what they do there.
I'd say
Neutral site sort of in Fort Worth.
Chad Reynolds, the legacy title for all of you real estate closings. 296-0060, full service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Our great team at Legacy Title: Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Walk-Ons Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Colucci, how you doing, buddy? I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. How was your holiday?
It was very good, Mr. Odd. How about yours and Charles?
Ours was great.
It was great. It was great. I mean, how about the most watched regular season game ever? With the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs, huh?
Ooh, wow, ooh, wow. The Cowboys are alive. Hey, the Cowboys are alive. They're alive and well, I guess, but it's going to be a long haul, trust me. Tonight is a big measuring stick. They need to come out and, take care of business against this banged-up Detroit squad. It's going to be, a very focal for both teams in this playoff drive. And, so far we are seeing Lions -3. Ticket count is fairly even, and I would say the money is, I'm telling you, the money is high here at the Rampart and South Point on the line. So we'll actually be rooting for the Cowboys tonight.
Okay. But, Dwayne, but one of the ways I like to handicap, though, is taking teams that they're in better form, they're playing better than their overall resume. And I think Dallas, even, their public team, and they don't do anything, they're dissected left and right. We know that even when they're playing so much better, huh? And Williams and the other kid they got from Green Bay. Did Jerry get this thing right for once?
Well, Parsons has been playing really well. I mean, let's not take anything away from Micah, but the Pickens maneuver was definitely one of the focal points that, it frees things up. When you have two monster wide receivers, you see how much it helps Joe Burrow and, some other quarterbacks that have that two-prong attack, Matt Stafford, now Dak Prescott. It definitely opens things up, and especially for the running game. Williams playing well, the acquisition from the Jets. They made some, maneuvers that were cost-saving, and they're actually it played into their favor that the Giants got decimated with injuries. Let's keep that in mind. Neighbors, Cam Scatterboo, those were huge, huge injuries. A team that was, looking good, like they were rejuvenated. And also the Jaden Daniels and Washington situation definitely played into the Cowboys' hands. So, it's a division that's up for grabs. We know Sirianni's going to make his mistakes. That locker room is in total disarray. So maybe Jerry got some of the aspects right. I'm not going to give him all the credit in the world. I mean, we're still on the outside looking in for a wild card, and it's going to be a long haul, like I said. This was a tough Cowboys really flexing right now and playing some of their best football, and that's why you're seeing only a 3-point spread. And, that Green Bay game would have been really nice to win. That would have put them at the 7-5 cusp that the Lions are facing now. And the Lions must win this game, guys. I mean, you got the Bears, the Packers. They're all hungry. Not Minnesota, but they're playing phenomenal football, the other two teams that I spoke about. So it's going to be a tough game tonight just because the Lions really, really need this game.
The Pickens thing to me is the biggest piece. He gambled that Pickens would behave himself because if he does, he's one of the top receivers in football.
Stay tuned.
Well, okay, but for the moment, we're talking about a number one receiver. He's their number one receiver right now.
He's better than CeeDee Lamb. Colucci agree with that he's better than Lamb right now?
Right now, but CD was banged up, and he's been banged up the last 2 seasons. But like Charlie said, a credit to what he said, he took a gamble, and Pickens is keeping his mouth shut. He's playing within the system. Dak Prescott is having an MVP season. So, yeah, right now Pickens is better.
Number 2 receiver in the NFL right now behind Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I realize that CD missed 3 games with the injuries. You essentially have 2 number 1 receivers there right now. And look, Pickens could go out there, throw a fit, get thrown out in the first quarter tonight, but so far he's kept himself in line, and when he does, man, that guy's a mega talent.
Definitely. I totally agree with Charlie. And you could see the way he catches the ball. He protects the ball very well. He puts his body, in a position to where his arms could make the catches. Very great technique. And, he's just playing off the charts right now. And to be behind Smith-Njigba, that's unbelievable because you see the stats that kid is putting up. And, I think he already broke several Seattle wide receiving records. And, just to be mentioned in that class and, Dallas having this 2-prong attack, that's why you're seeing a 54.5 total tonight, too, guys. They could put points up on the board in a hurry, but they could also give up points in a hurry. And it's going to be interesting to see if they get Diggs back, if he's going to be, anywhere serviceable after, causing all grumblings when Dallas was off to a slow start. These guys, they just don't want things to, commence and take hold. They want to complain after the first 5-6 games of the season, especially after the Parsons trade. He was very vocal. So, there's a lot going on in the Dallas locker room, but don't kid yourself. There's a lot going on in that Detroit locker room, too.
Colucci, did I see something on social media about Aqueduct? Am I missing something? Are they shutting down another racetrack, or what's going on in the old neck of the woods?
Well, that was just, let me tell you something. That was a fiasco with Aqueduct on Sunday. I just don't understand what the point was. It's not a good look for the NYRA, but the jockeys, I mean, what were they thinking? What are you fighting for? Now, I've been to Del Mar, and you have as well, Jimmy, for the last 30 years. I've seen family outside of the jockey room. Some of them sit on chairs. Some of them hang out in that paddock area. There are no families allowed in the jockey room. So that was just like a ridiculous claim that they want family in the jockey rooms. This is a professional sports team, basically, scenario where are the families allowed in the football locker rooms prior to the game? Are they allowed in the NBA locker rooms prior to the game, let alone while the races are taking place? So that was one of the issues that Kendrick Caramouche brought up that was just full of air. To my knowledge, it somewhat seems like they had an issue with the clerk of scales. Now, the clerk of scales has been changed, and the NYRA has been tinkering with a few of these higher-up positions, to my knowledge, firing and replacing people. So you're not always going to like the person that is in a certain position, but to just boycott after the first race, and think about it. All the drugs are administered to the horses, so therefore you're costing tons and tons of money to the ownership and the trainers. All the people that ship in their horses from other areas, I don't care if it's from New Jersey, it still costs money to get them into the Aqueduct facility. That costs money. Then the patrons pay to get in, pay for that $10 racing form. I don't think they really charge for parking at Aqueduct anymore because, it's not as packed as it used to be. But still, if there's a parking fee, valet parking, and so forth, you're paying for that. Then after the first race, if you lost the first leg, I'm sure you throw your tickets on the floor because there's no 4 out of 5 payoff in the pick 5 wager. So you're costing the player even more, and this is what the jockeys don't care about. And it's just amazing that they chose to take a stand. Richard Migliore put it perfectly. There's a right and a wrong time and place to have these negotiations. You don't just pull the rug out from everybody, one race into the card. I have to side with the NYRA in this instance. Not that they're a great organization and that they take care of everybody and that they're foolproof, but the jockeys really pulled the boner there. And, I know they're not in a position because the jockeys are so talented and they ride all the horses, but we've seen scabs at the NYRA before. I'll tell you the truth. I would have laid down at least a 2-week ban on anybody that was in that jockey room and voted to quit right there because that's just ridiculous. And they need to feel it in their pocket as well. That's what it comes down to.
Gotcha. 10 games on the ice tonight. Who are we looking at tonight?
Some nice games, I tell you. Last night I was sweating those Canadians. They finally got the job done, and they were a great bet the prior night on the first game back from the road trip. So I like this Ottawa Senator team. I mean, they're playing very well right now. The Rangers, they were able to get a victory against the juggernaut Dallas Stars, but keep in mind the Stars played their backup goalie, and then you saw Jake Ottinger on the second of the back-to-back shut out the opponent, the New Jersey Devils, the next night. So I like Ottawa. I think they're a tough team. They're a tough checking team. They definitely know how to play their style of hockey. They didn't have to travel much after the Canadian game. You know, you're right back in Ottawa. So Rangers, they have a great road record, but they still haven't ironed out all the kinks. I'm looking at the Ottawa Senators tonight, definitely for a good play. Also, I'm looking at the Los Angeles Kings. I know we're laying 2-1 in this game, guys, at the Rampart and South Point, and 2-1 in various other portions of the country. Some places have even 2-10. So, L.A. Kings tonight, they're going to get right back on track, winning. Chicago Blackhawks, they've been playing good on the road. They definitely gave the Golden Knights a scare and so forth, but I think the Kings need this game to get back on track. This is a very focal game. I like the Kings also at 2-1.
Dwayne, that's up to 225, 230 different places now. You still like it, or would you just shake it up to the puck line, or?
Yeah, we could even do puck line, but keep in mind, if you're in Vegas, come and see me. It's only 2-1 here. We actually opened it. We opened it at 230, and it's got down to 2-1. Believe it or not.
Oh,
and
really? So it's going opposite direction. Okay.
Yeah. Westgate was 230. William Hill was 235. So we're seeing a lot of action on the Blackhawks, and I love that. I'll definitely take the Kings in this position. I think they're definitely the better team, and they're going to play like they are tonight.
Maybe if we get on the MMR plane and head over there, the flight track, I think we go and get Dan Mullen for an offensive coordinator.
Is that available to us?
Absolutely.
Nobody told me that.
Can we get Lane to get on the plane there, boys?
It's expensive to get Lane on planes.
Yes, but it's expensive to get him on the planes, but he never looks at the financial details of anything. So anyway.
Oh, sure. So those are the two we're looking at.
Okay.
Great matchup on Long Island at Belmont Park tonight. Colorado Avalanche are 190 on the road. But, the Islanders suffered a big injury with Kyle Palmieri. Tough to play against Colorado Avalanche, but that's a very, very nice game if you're looking for a three-teamer. Maybe take a plus on the Islanders at home. They've played very well this year. They played over their head. Patrick Roy is actually a head coach of the year candidate thus far, but the season is in its infancy, and the Colorado Avalanche are a juggernaut. So we're going to stick with the Kings, as our key play, as well as the Ottawa Senators. If you need a little round-robin action, throw them Islanders on at a nice plus 170.
Okay, so you did Isles as a throw-in for that's a big dog in that one. Yeah. So okay, where's the action for the conference championship games right now? I see Virginia's climbing a little bit. Texas Tech is steadying some. Do you anticipate that Georgia might move to 3 in the SEC championship game over Alabama?
I tell you, that's a tough game, I'll be honest with you. And what we're seeing right now, we're seeing a lot of Georgia money. Ticket count is almost 2.5 to 1, and the money count is about 7 to 1. So, yeah, you could see it go to 3, but that's a key number, and especially against the Crimson Tide, that's going to be a tough one. The game is in Georgia, which definitely is a home field for Georgia, but, it's going to be a two-way crowd there, and we're going to get some good two-way action. But thus far, you guys are making the right call. Georgia is, so far 2.5 to 1 on the ticket count, as well as the money count. It's very high. The Sharks
Charlie, that's
jump
rare.
all over Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah, that's rare with Alabama. It's not the public team.
I'm going down with
Kirby
the ship
is 1-7.
Yeah.
1-7 against Alabama.
I'm going down with the ship again. I mean, I'm going with the Bulldogs. I thought they were the better team the first time they played. A couple of plays didn't go their way, a fourth down.
And then I beat them at their place.
I know,
now.
but
that's
I
hard
still,
to do.
I still
That's
thought they were. I thought they were better the last time they played in Tuscaloosa, and it seems like Alabama's just got their number through two coaches now. Saban, that's a whole different thing, but for whatever reason, Kirby has not been able to beat them, and I think more than once he's had the better team, and I still think he's got the better team. But we got to see it. They didn't set the world on fire down the stretch.
All right.
And there's a lot of movement. I mean, we opened it at 1. Now it's 2.5. So if it gets to 3, I'm taking Bama all day.
We have been looking at this Big Ten championship line for over a month now because for so long it appeared that these two teams were going to be the ones that ended up in this game. So we saw as low as 3.5. We saw as high as 7. Then where was the high point this week? Was it like 5.5 or something? Now we're looking at 4. Is that what you have at the Rampart as well?
Yeah, we opened this game at 6. Ohio State, now it's at 4.5. It's hovering. A lot of places in town have 4.5. I do see a couple of places, Superbook, Westgate there, and Circa have 4, but 4.5, I think I would have loved to have gotten 6. I think this Indiana team is very, very difficult, even though, Ohio State has been monstrous all year. Indiana is definitely going to come to play. This is going to be a tougher game than most of the public perceives. Money is getting loaded up now on Ohio State. Ticket count is almost 2-1, but I still think that Indiana has an excellent, excellent chance. And I'm sorry, I said the money is loading up on Ohio State. It's loading up actually on Indiana. I'm sorry. We moved it from 6.5 to 4.5, but ticket count is still Ohio State, almost 2-1, but the money is, right there on Indiana.
Charlie?
And that's where you have guys, the general.
And
the general public loading Ohio State with the parlays and teases, and the sharps taking Indiana.
Charlie, do we have any final word on the Pavia Mafia and Trump and their efforts to give it another game? We know what the opponent is yet? See if Dwayne has a line on that yet?
Okay, so they couldn't get the playoffs bumped up, so they went to try to find a 13th game. That's real. They put out a statement. They went to try to find somebody to play this week.
The Commanders?
I don't know, man. Whoever they could find, the Cosmic All-Stars. I don't know.
The Washington Generals?
Give them credit.
Yeah, they have a football team?
Give them credit for trying to find an opponent at least.
There we go. All right. To follow Dwayne on Twitter at NYBookie.
You
Dwayne,
guys are crazy.
you're the best. You're the best, my man. Hang in there. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you soon. Thank you, Dwayne.
Definitely talk to you guys next week, and glad you guys all had a great Thanksgiving, and Christmas is around the corner. Let's go.
The Gucci. Yes, indeed. So, live here at the Original Walk-Ons. Keep in mind, we got the patio. We've got the private room available for your holiday gatherings, last-minute ideas for that as well. We've got it available, or we can bring the food to you like we did today on a big catering order. We can cater any type of holiday gathering at your home or business. At the Original Walk-Ons.
Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from the Original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Give Pat McAfee a little credit. He's had some interesting stuff this week. He's on with Cody Campbell right now, the mega booster at Texas Tech, who is if I had to put the 5 most powerful people in college football right now, he'd be in that list.
Who's ahead of him?
The commissioners of the Big Ten and the SEC,
and
maybe,
what's his name for
and the head of ESPN. But he's, believe me, he's right there with anybody that doesn't own a network or run a conference. He's been a mega. McAfee also had Marty Smith on earlier this week, and he described what it was like trying to get Lane Kiffin to that interview at the airport and steering around fire trucks. It's 2 hilarious minutes. He told a very, very funny story.
So he actually witnessed the chase, kind of?
Yeah, Kiffin made him go to a port of the private tarmac area that he would have to steer around all the fire trucks and all the extra security that they had out there, go off-road, go up the hill.
They had fire trucks?
Fire trucks blocking the I want to say service entrance, but the service road and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Okay.
And so Kiffin's watching him, and Marty Smith's driving this cargo van around the fire trucks up this hill through this what felt like a dirt road. He goes, man, we were going Bo Duke. We were going to get there. And Kiffin watched the whole thing.
He was excited that he could see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it was.
What a crappy assignment.
Coming to the
Let me
end.
just stand out here and wait for this guy.
Hour number 2 here at Walk-Ons 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The original walk-ons, get your holiday gift cards, your holiday get-togethers on the back patio, in the private room here. The original walk-ons, the one that started all here at Burbank and Nicholson. So if you've been watching the national headlines for college football in the last 3 or 4 days, it's obviously been flooded with Lane Kiffin, and we expected that. It's been maybe even a little bit more than I would have thought. Just yesterday, I clicked on one national headline. It was about recruiting, and it didn't have LSU in the headline, but you clicked on it, and the first picture that comes up is Lane Kiffin in front of the LSU board. Keith Carter had his interview yesterday, disputed some of the things that Kiffin said.
I'm bored with that.
And that's kind of where I'm going with this.
Geez,
the players came out and said, well, that's not really what he said. They've had a ball with this story, even Feinbaum. I guess what I'm getting to is this will subside, okay? This is going to be hot for another – it's going to re-emerge when Ole Miss plays their playoff game. And Kiffin will be fitted for the ultimate black hat, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And the one thing that came out of the ESPN piece yesterday that we didn't know before about the whole exit and everything, we knew about. At least we had been talking. If you've been listening to the radio station, any of the shows, you knew about 95% of what was in that article. The one part that was different was Florida State, and when Kiffin said 4 teams that we looked at, and told the story yesterday, we chased him down the elevator, and who was the 4th team? And he's like, I left that out. Well, it emerged that it was Florida State. That was the one surprise to me, Jimmy, that a team that had a head coach that they didn't know that they were going to fire. They would have found the money, apparently. $54 million to Norvell, another $18 to the staff, so somewhere in the area of $70 million that they were willing to jettison. Now, how this –
Is Kiffin telling you this?
This is the ESPN article yesterday.
Kiffin said it?
That no, this was sourced. This was
sourced.
This
okay.
was sourced.
Okay.
That
okay.
The AD at Florida
I'm
State.
sorry, I believe the source more than Kiffin.
Well, no,
I'm
right.
sorry.
So the source was that the AD had done his due diligence, had gone up to talk, and if Kiffin had been amenable to going there, they would have made a move. They decided when Kiffin wasn't available not to make
that's surprising.
Now, that's new, okay? Generally, if you get that far down the road.
Just got their ops building built.
Yeah.
Just got it built.
Do you think this is obvious that they don't want to keep Mike Norvell, but they
they
don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay that buyout.
If the buyout, now that you have to pay the players, now that you're leaning. You're looking for money more than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, Wisconsin have made a move, probably so. We thought that, LSU is strong as. Now, I think LSU's private donors even flexed to our expectation level. I mean, I feel stronger about LSU's private donors, how strong it is more than ever. I know that this process has elevated my opinion of that.
If I could go back and tell September me what was going to happen, September me wouldn't have believed December me.
I never. And listen, experienced support staff at LSU, ultra experienced, saying, barring a loss to Western Kentucky, he's not going anywhere. And that's after the Vandy loss. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
It's just nobody wants to pay that. We knew it'd have to. The irony is, are they killing Woody now? How could he dare set him up with this $90 million contract?
Yeah,
What you got? A $90 million contract.
Exactly. And
what's Kiffin's? What's his? If he leaves, what's his penalty?
$7 million.
$7 million?
Down to $1.5 million as the years go along. And if Verge leaves, cut it in half at any point in those things.
Well, that helps for Verge.
So Michael Alford is the AD at Florida State. So you decide, listen, if we can get this guy, it'll be worth us going past the hat to get the money to move our coaches out. And certainly the man's no dummy. He knew what Kiffin was going to cost. He knew it was going to cost between $12 and $15 million. Right. So that's another $100 million on the books that he was going to go for. And when it didn't happen, he bowed out and said, no, we'll keep the guy that we've got.
What about the thing with these 10-year deals? They're not. Are any of these new extensions 10-year deals?
No.
They're close. They're close. They're still the same money.
They're the same money for less years.
Okay, so you're still going to get $50 million. There's potential $50 million price tags all over that were done all over the place this year.
I can only imagine how hard Jimmy Sexton laughed when he's like, okay, go from 10 years to 6 years or 7 years, and it's the same money. Fine, I'll renegotiate even earlier on your ass now. Okay, this is even more money.
So that's fine. We can get $90 million for 10 or $90 million for 7. Yeah. Where can I sign that up? So they really, the athletic directors and the athletic departments really bowed up, huh?
So
okay.
When all of these black hat pieces come out, understand Ole Miss desperately wanted to keep this guy. Florida desperately wanted this guy. Florida State wanted this guy enough to at least do this much due diligence before they decided to, all right, we're stuck with the guy that we got. LSU desperately wanted this guy. Well, you think Penn State would like to have him today with 2 recruits signed on National Signing
Charlie,
Day?
the reason this is so topical is because it has little layers and all kinds of things where he's taking a better job. Nobody's faulting that. He sure loved the drama. It built it. It milked it for everything. You're talking about getting on McAfee, really? The one spot where you say, man, Lane Kiffin's a sympathetic figure. Man, he's struggling with this. Is he going to leave this team headed to the playoff, or is he going to, and he's on McAfee and he's doing his daily delegation or whatever that thing is. His little book of sayings.
He's got a book. He's got a prayer book.
Yeah, I don't want to go there, but whatever it is,
it's okay.
And so a lot of people see, and it's hard to argue that he has a narcissistic drama queen. I mean, he's like a 13-year-old girl posting her relationship status on social media. I mean, it's just too much. But that's what some people like about him. Now we're hearing all the dirt coming out of him. No. Don't come with that now when the dirt was happening or supposedly happening while he was your coach. I don't want to hear that now. I don't want to hear Vanderbilt now cry about it, about the process. I don't want to hear that. Give me the Florida coach the president, that when they won the national championship, benefited from the system, and he still said, no, this is wrong. No, that's a guy, Bernie Machen, who has the best interest of the sport. All right? And look, if Vanderbilt took the V off and it was just gold and they had a little leprechaun on the sideline, they'd be in. If they just painted it red and put a script, script A on there, like Alabama, it would be, they'd be in. They're not. But Charlie, nobody's faulted for a job. But there was a lot of people that thought, man, there's not going to be a guy that's going to leave his team headed to the playoff. Well, Kiffin's not the only one. So it's okay to do it as a mid-major when you're going for a better job, but you can't do it if you're going from P4 to P4 or within the league. And I don't want to hear about this rivalry. That's news to me that LSU is Ole Miss's biggest rivalry. Because I would have thought Mississippi State was a bigger rivalry. And like I said, in the last 25, 30 years, Ole Miss is fourth at best behind Alabama, Auburn, in Florida.
It's not Ole Miss's top rivalry.
I mean, you don't think we get more juice? I mean, I guess maybe All right, A&M or Ole Miss. If this didn't happen.
A&M.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is now. I get that now.
Every one of the places that is, again, going to fit him for a black hat would take him. And it does remind me, I hate to keep bringing up the S word, but when everybody was dog-cussing Nick Saban for lying about taking the Alabama job, there wasn't anybody that didn't say, oh, gosh, that guy's, the best coach that you can go get right now. And I think these schools are saying the same thing right now. We may not like the drama. We may not like exactly the way he does things on social media and stuff like that. We're not wild about the trolling and stuff like that. But give us that guy running our football program any day. We will take that. And there's a certain amount of fear factor there that you put this guy with these resources and he's going to be really hard to beat. It was like that with Saban. It was like, man, he's a no good blankety blank. And the delusional LSU fans that said at the time, oh, well, he's not going to be. LSU made him. No. They were good for each other, no doubt. But, no, he was going to.
How would you grade DeBoer right now?
Well, DeBoer, I give DeBoer a B.
Okay.
A B.
B coach. Okay.
Yeah.
Check out his recruiting ranking yesterday.
What was it,
top 5.
6? Yeah.
Top 5.
Yeah, I think there were 4, 5 stars.
I mean, that's,
So when you see all this, just understand there's a certain amount of jealousy that goes along with it.
What are you counseling people? I mean, no, LSU, there are going to be a lot of people pulling against LSU next year. Because Kiffin.
As long as he's here.
Absolutely.
As long as
Absolutely.
He's here. Did a lot of people pull against Alabama when Saban was there?
Oh, not like this.
No, he wasn't quite
like this.
he wasn't the troll.
No,
but
his season was over when he left, and they weren't headed to the playoff.
I'm talking about when they were winning. The Alabama fatigue was real. Okay,
here,
everywhere. I mean, not to the extent of here,
Charlie. This is
across the Southeastern Conference. You don't think there was Saban fatigue?
Oh, across the SEC, competing schools and competing fan bases. I'm talking about nationally.
There was SEC fatigue.
There's SEC fatigue,
and they were at the top of the list.
Yes, but not this. Oh, I mean, I got Chris Massaro. He loves us. Okay, I'm pulling against that guy.
Pulling against that guy. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, there's a lot of people now. We over here walk-ons, and you got the McAfee show on. You got Colin Cowherd. You got some basketball games on. Well, Colin Cowherd, he's still today one of his openings. Kiffin made the right move. This is why. Yeah. I mean, so you're going to have some of that, and it's just nobody's fault. It's still tough. You got to have, and he knew early, and I don't believe, because if we know in Baton Rouge weeks before that, that was just for the Florida job. You leave, you're not coaching a playoff. You're not coaching. And he knew that earlier, and I don't care about when he did. I don't care. And listen, don't dive in head first and could be completely shocked if he leaves for another job in 4 years.
Absolutely not. No, 8 of the last 9 LSU coaches have been here.
If he maxes out at LSU, bro, this is the best thing that for Ole Miss. It might be a little bit short-sighted, and I think so with Golding. It's too reactionary. It's tee soon. He should be interim. Can you see how he handles things in the playoffs before you dive in? Who's getting him? Who's scooping him up? Nobody.
No, that was completely reactionary move.
Let him be on the audition. Said, man, this is going to have a great deal on how we do. But if he maxes out at LSU will be in a better place.
They will.
Ole Miss is in a better place because of Lane Kiffin. And I brought that up for how long have I been talking about best conference winning percentage? For years. For years, this didn't start this past year or the year before. He had the best winning percentage in the conference. Forget the 10 wins. They play more games here. They play more games now. Everybody's winning more games. But the SEC's never been stronger than when he was there. And since Johnny Vaught, that's maxing out at the program.
If he's here for 5 years, wins a championship, and moves on to an NFL job, so be it.
4.
4, yeah.
4 is.
If you can win a championship that quickly, a national championship.
I get where you're going.
Yeah, we're talking about the SEC West that no longer exists. We're talking about
4 years. Are we going to be playing the SEC championship game? Are we going to care about the SEC championship game? Our teams can they accept? Can they decline their eligibility for the championship game.
I think 4 years from now, the postseason format's going to be significantly different than it is right now in
Well,
regards to the
but-
championship game and the playoffs.
The SEC makes the
obviously.
most. You
Yeah.
think in 4 years? Blue Bucket? Charlie? September,
Yeah,
Charlie. September, Charlie.
It
We
might
found-
be before then. It might be before then when they do that new playoff format. They're going to have to. They're going to have to tweak something. This has put a big light on the college football calendar and how effed up it is. So there's going to be some significant
This is in the
changes.
best interest of your conference if you allow your the teams that qualify to decline. If you're Georgia, do you decline? I do.
Yeah.
If you're Alabama, do you decline? Absolutely. I don't want to jeopardize. I'm not going to get knocked down for not playing. I might.
And so if you get those
Could they
teams-
lose by 2 touchdowns, Georgia? Sure.
If you get those teams decline, and then the
Vandy
championship
gets in.
then the championship game kind of goes like the bowl games did. Its significance decreases. Even with a conference championship, its significance decreases because the real goal is
So
the
if it's
playoff.
not a true championship game, but it's still branded a championship game, would that be like having 18 teams in the Big Ten or something like that?
Well, they're talking about like having these challenge games. Like, what if
A play-in or
yes? What if Miami and Vanderbilt were playing this week for a spot in the playoff?
call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I'm just as interested as Vandy participating this Saturday as Georgia and Alabama. Actually, more.
If Vandy,
Aren't you?
Sure. If Vandy and Miami were playing this week for a spot in the playoff, you couldn't pull me away from that.
Well,
game.
you're not going to allow SEC championship game an outside
No, if there was no championship game.
No. But that's you're always going to have 13 and 14. If it's 16, you're always going to have 17 or 18.
So eliminate
okay?
the championship games.
You're always going to have.
And put these entry games in there. And like you say, call it whatever you want. But instead of having conference championship games, you just say, okay, well, this week Vandy's going to play Miami, Notre Dame's going to play
for everybody.
BYU
It's
or
different
whoever.
though. Normal situation, it's for a spot in the ACC, in the Big 12. Big 12, one of their teams is playing for one. One team's probably playing for a bye.
And
okay,
once again,
but SEC
and the
makes
Big
so
Ten.
much more. It makes so much more money than all of them.
It
Big
does,
Ten is.
but the Big Ten's got two teams that are in regardless as well.
Both
of them would decline, right?
No. Indiana would not.
No, you're right. Indiana
would not.
That's new money.
Ohio State. I mean, you'll go have that thing.
Yeah, right.
That's why the line's so low, Charlie.
We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store, also now in LaRose and Lockport. Great gift ideas for the holiday season. Power tools, hand tools, crawfish pods, jambalaya pods, cypress furniture, security systems, security cameras, security locks, and tons more. Encourage you to get on for some of the specials at thethibodeaustore.com. It'll get you to all 4 locations. Delivery available on some of these items, and same-day pickup available on pretty much everything. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, also a large supply of fishing equipment. You got a fisherman in the family, you're looking for Christmas gifts, you can get them at the Thibodaux Store and thethibodeaustore.com. In Pierre Port, it's Highway 70, also in LaRose and Lockport as well. Again, online, it's thethibodeaustore.com. Live at lunch from Walk-Ons, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Walk-Ons Live at Lunch, we're also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners, because when it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike. Let Phil Fontenot and his staff at Coastal Capital Advisors work with you to develop a plan that will give you the peace of mind headed towards retirement, no matter where you are in life, your income level, or your age. They'll tailor-make a plan that is perfect for you. I can tell you for sure, because that's what they've done for our family. Go to coastalcapitaladv.com to set up an appointment. Coastalcapitaladv.com, member FINRA, SIPC.
You know, one more thing, because, you know, it's another thing, the layers of this whole Kiffin thing, but, you know, so they don't want a coach that's leaving at LSU. They don't want LSU coach coaching them in the play. Well, not the head coach, but we'll take the play
Assistant
caller.
coach, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's just less high. It was the embarrassment of them having to have their coach with LSU underneath it. You heard Virgil Osbury on Friday, on Monday. We want him to coach. Go right ahead. Please go. I was standing 6 feet from him when he said, "Please go coach."
Verge is a former. I didn't realize how. But I thought that they would want the best, and so we don't want him because he handled it and he handled it poorly. I mean, most if you can even have that many people at Baton Rouge who won on the whole thing, I mean, say that. I mean, it's pretty universal that's the not so debatable part. But I mean, yeah, I thought that they would. I said, yeah, well, let him go coach. I mean, sure, they want to win. They want to. Nope. But we'll take the offensive coordinator.
And again, for the championship game, that was another thing that came out of the Carter interview yesterday. So, would you have let him coach in a championship game? He's like, I don't know. He said the turnaround was so short that we might have had.
Heard another reporter talking about that may have been different. They had some pretty good sources. That they may.
They just didn't have enough time to change.
Which I mean, I think the playoff is. But they hadn't won it forever. I don't know. I don't know. Let them figure it out. So
LSU's biggest problem this year was the offensive line. Well, we now know who the offensive line coach is.
No argument there either.
We now know who the offensive line coach is coming in, and his name is Eric Wolford, who for the last 2 seasons has been at Kentucky. The 2 seasons before that, coached for Nick Saban at Alabama. He's also coached at South Carolina in the league and in the NFL, 2 years with the San Francisco 49ers. So you look at Kentucky's rushing statistics the last 2 years, you're not going to be terribly impressed. They were 86th in the country in rushing this year, and they were 70. Let me make sure I got my numbers right here. 70-something. 81st the year before that. When he was at Alabama, though, Alabama averaged 173 yards a game. That was 46th in the country in 23. In 22, they were 30th in the nation, 196 yards per game behind those offensive lines. He's a native of Youngstown, Ohio. Former head coach at Youngstown State for 5 years back in the early 2000s.
You don't have the stats for Kentucky?
I just gave them to you.
Oh.
They were 86th in the league in rushing yards this year. 86th in the country in rushing yards this year, 139.
He was a better coach at Alabama running football than Kentucky.
Yeah. With Alabama,
it just tickles me when they did the bios. I'm completely the opposite. No, show me. Hey, we didn't have a guy drafted, and for the whole 4 years we're there, and we still put up these numbers. Instead of he's attributed with developing. This 5-star and this pro player.
Correct. And Kiffin's teams have typically run the ball.
He
pretty
will always be balanced, Charlie. They rarely show the running plays when they talk about the Kiffin's offenses. They are going to be balanced. Absolutely. And he's going to run his quarterback too.
What do you think? Without looking, what do you think Ole Miss was rushing the football in the country this year? Now, this is a playoff team. It's an 11-1 team.
What are you talking about? Yards per game? Yards per rushing attempt?
Rushing yards per game in the nation.
Per game?
Yeah.
I would say 20th.
35th. I would have guessed a little bit higher as well. But they rushed it for 189 yards per game.
What about yards per attempt?
Yards per attempt, they were 4.6.
What? Where's it rank?
5th in the league.
5th in the league. Where in the country?
5th in the league. 35th in the country.
Oh no! You said total yards per game was 35th. Yards per attempt.
Yards per attempt in the country.
I'll look it up. That's okay.
The yards per attempt in the country was.
I think that's more. Different teams play different amount of snaps per game.
They do. The in yards per 50th.
Okay.
50th. Okay. The year before that, they were 3rd in the nation in rushing yards, 256 yards per game. That's the Jackson Dart final year.
Well, Dart in 3 seasons and Chambliss in 1 season have exactly the yards per rushing attempt, and close to the touchdowns per season. the yards per attempt passing, yards rushing, that's all very close. The one big thing is that Chambliss was 6-1 touchdowns to interception ratio, and Dart was 3-1.
You're starting from scratch here. You've got a new offensive line coach. You've got a new offensive coordinator. You've got a head coach, and all of them have a pretty good history of being able to run the football. So now it's a matter of getting the personnel and coaching them up. You got to get another quarterback. You got to coach up the linemen that you have returning, and you got to bring some more in. So I feel a lot better about where LSU's rushing attack is going than where it has been.
But if you look at plays per game, and everywhere he's been, they are going to run the ball close to what they throw the ball. They are going to have balance.
That's what we wanted, right?
No, that's why he's good. That's why he's good. That's why his offenses are good. Yes.
Welcome to Baton Rouge, Mr. Wolford, whenever you get here.
Yes, welcome.
He looks like an offensive line coach, too. I mean, he's got, you could tell. He looks like an offensive line coach.
What the hell does that mean?
He looks like an offensive lineman.
Well, most of them are former offensive linemen.
Well, that's the point. Yes. I've been waiting for a new offensive line coach for 3 years, man. Don't mess with me right now. I'm happy.
I mean, he's Carolina's offensive line. Charlie, guess what? He looks like an offensive lineman.
All right.
Why is that pertinent?
Because I want a tough guy. That's why. A lot of tough guys.
How many offensive line coaches were not former offensive linemen? It's pretty rare.
All I know is they couldn't run the football to save their life the last 2 years, and I would like that to change.
Yes, we would. But can we abstain from I'll need some more Les Miles?
I want a tough guy. This guy's a tough guy.
Oh, man. Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of southern Louisiana for over 50 years. A great team of bankers at United Community Bank: Prentice Wilkes, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, and David Henry. Stop on by and discuss how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Maui Matt, Bahamas, Maui, where you been, buddy?
Hey, I'm in Vegas, actually. Great to talk to you guys. I have not caught up with you for a couple weeks. I was curious. I have not heard much about this lately. Has LSU hired a football coach yet?
No, but
coming in on X right now. I think breaking news.
He's a social media influencer that has a part-time gig of being a college football coach. So, stick around.
Hot yoga enthusiast.
Yeah. You get the whole package with this guy, Matt. So I know it's exactly your cup of tea.
It's going to be plenty for you guys to talk about. That's for sure. And it's going to heighten interest in LSU football. There's no question about it, because everybody's going to see championship or bust for Lane Kiffin and LSU, and that's the way it should be. To me, he's way too much of a drama queen. I could do without that, but I certainly understand why he's such a hot coach on the market. There's not many great coaches out there. That's why I kept saying when all these jobs were open, who's going to fill these jobs? Who are the hot coaching prospects who are going to fill these jobs if Penn State still can't find a coach?
Yeah, I mean, and their recruiting class was what is it, Charlie?
Yes, they got two guys.
135th. It's behind Akron, so I mean,
behind McNeese.
They've lost over 20 behind McNeese State. Over 20 commitments that have decommitted from them. So they, James, they're going to have, what, Matt? They're going to have a very difficult time hiring a coach as good as the one they fired.
Yeah, I also think it was kind of time for James Franklin and Penn State to part ways, but the way this has happened, it's turned into a kind of a disaster for Penn State. So, because when you fire somebody, you have to have a plan of who you're going to hire. And if Matt Rule was the plan, you should have had a handshake deal behind the scenes that, hey, this is going to be our guy. You have to have that set up. And obviously they had nothing set up. Pat Kraft blew that, and it's probably going to cost him his job.
Hey, Matt, early college basketball, what tournaments have you had a chance to go to?
Well, I just went to the Baja Mar in the Bahamas, Maui Invitational, and then I didn't go to the Players Era in Vegas, but I watched as many games as I could that week. So I've seen a lot of college basketball here early. It's funny, I was thinking about how, when the season starts, everyone gets excited. You want to bet all these games. But really, you need to approach with caution and proceed with caution. And I started off, I think, 4-10 in college basketball, and then just 4-10 against the spread. In the last 2.5 weeks, I think I'm 12-1. So you really need to. You got to watch games. You don't really know what you're betting on in the first week or week and a half, and then when you start to see these teams and you can scout them and some situations pop up, you're a lot better. It's just you're a lot better as a handicapper and a bettor. It's just another lesson that you can't get overexcited when the season starts. You're just betting too many games, especially the way college football and college basketball are now, with these teams being entirely new. You just, nobody had Arizona in the top 10 when the season started. Nobody did. I looked everywhere. I was doing my own research on it. I think I had Arizona power rated like 14. And now Arizona looks like a top 3 team. And, Kentucky looked like a team that was just going to kick ass. And look at how bad Kentucky is right now. So there's just a lot of examples of that.
They don't have a Q1 or Q2 win to this point. They got a lot of quality losses, but do not have a quad 1 or quad 2 win. Also, and this is where the SEC did so much of its heavy lifting, because they did so well non-conference. It has not been the same this year. Now, they just jumped up ahead of the Big East with a 6-1 night in the ACC-SEC Challenge last night. They're close. The ACC and SEC and Big East are close as far as the power-rated conferences right now, but they're not. In all likelihood, they're not going to catch the Big 12 or Big 10. So at least we could see some of that. Your thoughts on what makes the different conferences, then what they are, what you think. I mean, damn, the one that's, Michigan beating to Gonzaga the way they did, where Gonzaga's always ready to play early because that's where the tough part of their schedule is. And so traditionally, they're just a little bit more dialed in early, and they look great until that game and got housed, man. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was incredible. How about, that's the most impressive 3 days I think I've ever seen from a college basketball team. To win by 40, to win by 30, to win by 40 against quality competition. I like that. I think Mark Hughes coached 902 games in his career, and that's the worst loss he's ever taken, that 40-point loss to Michigan. And, I will say this about Florida. The Gators should have beat Duke the other night in Cameron Indoor. They got absolutely screwed by the officials. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but it was a complete joke, which is going to happen
right
when you go play at Duke. So I still think there's plenty of time for teams like Florida to bounce back and look pretty good in the long run. Alabama maybe a little bit too weak inside. It's been exposed in a couple of games so far. I'll tell you one team I did not like when I was in Maui, and that was Texas. I was at the Arizona State-Texas game. That 87-86 game where Texas blew a late 10-point lead. That team's not very good. That's going to be a bet against team, I think, in a lot of spots.
Yeah, and I'll say Alabama, just too much on Phylon, but he has improved. He is as good as they get. He can score anywhere on the court. He made a move on last night in the Clemson game. Critical spot where Clemson, I think, took the lead with maybe a minute and a half to go, and just – impressive move. Just left the guy to get into a little floater in the lane. But anyway, Oates says it's his best shooting team. I was like, I don't know about that. But
I don't know about that either.
I don't know. But then Wake Forest, to your point, Wake Forest should have beaten Michigan. They had like a 6-7 point lead with less than 2 minutes to go in Ann Arbor. They lose in double overtime there. They go to Lubbock and lose by 1 to Texas Tech. I say, I'm going to lay this short number against Oklahoma. Oklahoma housed them 2 nights ago in Winston-Salem at their place. So I've had really good seasons the last couple of years, and I'm off to a slow start myself. So All right. What about? And isn't it funny about your boy Dusty May at Ann Arbor? Though he loves the dual 7-footers, huh? He had 2 last year, and they both went on, and he's got 2 more this year. So interesting approach, but he's going to get it done.
It is. When I was doing the preseason work on that, I ranked Michigan's front court number 1 in college basketball. I still got some questions about the guards. I think when they get scouted and as you get into conference play, those guards are going to hurt them a little bit, but their front court is awesome. And, Dusty May, imagine if Indiana had not screwed up the Mike Woodson situation and let him linger one more year like they did. They could add Dusty May and Kurt Signetti as their 2 coaches. And,
that'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good.
Be packing up his U-Haul and moving back to Indiana now so he could attend every game. So
Indiana and LSU, and I told this yesterday to Wes, I said the one thing they have in common in basketball, they have yet to play a Q1 or Q2 opponent, and both were top 20 in the NET. How in the hell? Now, we saw what happened to both of them look bad last night. LSU escaped a damaging loss in Chestnut Hill, but, I mean, that Minnesota team is not good, and they beat them by 9 last night. No doubt. Matt, who's your best pick or 2 in the NFL? We'll start with that.
Start with the NFL. Okay. With that number moving to 3.5, I actually just bet the Cowboys for tonight. But let's talk about Sunday. And I've got 2 for you. You can use whichever one you want. Played Steelers +6, and this is not going to be a popular bet, but that's okay. You got to make unpopular plays in the NFL. And in the regular season, and John Harbaugh versus Mike Tomlin matchups, the dog is 24-7-3 against the spread. And there's not a lot here when you look at the Steelers that makes you convinced that this is going to be the play this week. But then again, all you have to do is reflect on how poorly the Ravens played on Thanksgiving night in that loss to the Bengals. These are 2 struggling 6-6 teams right now at the top of the division. They're going to play 2 more times. I bet both games go down to the wire. Typical Ravens-Steelers games are decided by 4 points or fewer, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this. I think the Steelers are really going to be challenged by Tomlin this week, and Aaron Rodgers has got to be challenged to play better. Rodgers has been really bad, and then he starts to point fingers at teammates. We're going to find out what the Steelers are made of this week, if they're going to bounce back and play with pride and actually look better on both sides of the ball, because their run defense was just trampled by the Bills last week, and that was a Bills offensive line with both starting tackles out, so that just didn't make sense. So this play didn't make a lot of sense. Well, let's go Steelers +6. And then one I think more people might like. At Circa right now, the Chiefs are -3, -120, and at most other books, they're 3.5. You could lay the money line at -180, but I'm going to play the Chiefs on Sunday night against the Texans. And I think this is where you're going to see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs championship pedigree step up. And on a Sunday night game in cold conditions in Kansas City, I think you're getting the Texans where you want them. I know Houston's got the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. Kansas City's not far behind, 7th in scoring defense. The Chiefs' problem is they're not putting a lot of pressure on the passer. Even when they blitz, they're not getting to quarterbacks. But that's not a big deal when you're facing C.J. Stroud, who I didn't think was very sharp last week against the Colts. He missed a few games, came back. I didn't really like the way he played last week. This Texans defense has been outstanding, but I think you're going to see Patrick Mahomes play his A game here now that the Chiefs know they have to run the table. And they got the backs against the wall, and they got to do everything they can down the stretch here to make the playoffs. Also, a bit of a negative situation here. The Texans are playing back-to-back road games. The Chiefs have defeated the Texans 5 straight times, but teams playing a neutral or road game before going to Kansas City with Mahomes at quarterback are 2-21 straight up. And the only quarterbacks to win in that situation are Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, so every other quarterback is 0-20. So I think this situation sets up well for the Chiefs.
Matt, what about the conference championship Friday and Saturday of the weekend? 6 of the 9 games are rematches.
There's only 2 games I bet so far. First bet was Georgia -2.5, and I also played Georgia -135. Obviously, we know that Bama won between the hedges on September 27th. But this Georgia defense has improved, allowed 7.3 points over the last three. And this clown college football committee that was impressed by Alabama's win against Auburn last week, I don't know what the hell these fools are talking about. Alabama was outgained 411 to 280 in that game. And Jam Miller, who had 83 yards rushing and limped off with an injury. If Bama can't run the ball effectively, you're going to have a lot on Ty Simpson in this game. And Kirby Smart, I believe you guys will know, is he 1-7 against Alabama?
Yeah, 1-7.
Yeah, 1-7. He's going to want this game. And Georgia's playing in this dome back-to-back weeks is a bit of an advantage. So I do like Georgia in that spot. And first bet I made this week was Indiana +6. Number was sitting at 6.5, and I got greedy. I said I'm going to wait, see if this goes to 7. It started to go the other way, so I took 6. I would still take 4.5 here.
Okay.
Got the top 2 scoring defenses in college football. And I believe it or not, I think it could be a bit of a letdown, emotional letdown for Buckeyes this week because they put so much into that Michigan game. And this means everything to Indiana.
We talked about it. We just discussed it. If the SEC will alter, because they make money both on these games, and if you can decline your qualification, Alabama wouldn't want to risk their spot in the playoff right now.
Right.
Georgia
Right.
wouldn't want to play another game. Certainly Vanderbilt, Ohio State, they're good. Indiana would play. And that's where we like this motivational angle as well. They want that Big Ten title. They're still trying to get things into building their program. So yes,
Right.
I think it's definitely an emotional letdown spot for them. And when Ryan Day says, "Oh, well, the seeding's important," how'd that work out for us, Coach, last year? Yeah, seeding really meant a lot. So,
Right.
did they? Could you tell the seeding in Pasadena when that game was like 35-0 at half or whatever it was against Oregon?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about an Ohio State team that didn't even play in the conference championship game and won the national championship. So seeding really doesn't matter. In fact, I think the teams not playing in conference championships this week have an advantage, right? Because you basically got to bye this week.
There's no doubt, but when you're playing in Atlanta, there's possible bye, and then you could get your rest. I think Alabama, SEC champion, beating Georgia twice, would get into that top 4. I do think so. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate it, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet. Thanks.
We will take our final time out here at Walk-Ons, the original Burbank and Nicholson live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Championship weekend, of course, is upon us, and a great place to watch all the games here at Walk-Ons.
Yes, indeed. Look, keep in mind for any gatherings, we got the patio. We have the private room that are available for different dates for your holiday gatherings. So keep us in mind if you're last-minute ideas to have your holiday gathering over here at Walk-Ons. And also, we brought out like 250 lunches today. We could do the catering menu. We can bring it to your office, to your house, whatever you may need for your holiday gathering as well. So on-site, off-site, holiday get-togethers, keep in mind our friends over here at Walk-Ons, the original Walk-Ons here at Burbank.
Cowboys and Lions tonight?
Pokes. I think they're a better team.
Lions,
right now.
Lions going in the right direction.
And Thursday, the visiting team, they played a week ago, so they're a little bit more prepared for the turnarounds.
Thanksgiving Bowl tonight, a week after
Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah,
That's good, Charlie.
Tomorrow we're back on our regular Friday schedule, starting at 11 o'clock.
11 a.m.
Rufino's tomorrow.
Slacker.
All right, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for Hunt on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.